All right, we need to talk about a critical safety alert from Brazil's aviation authority, ANAC. It's Airworthiness Directive 2025-10-01. And if you operate an Embraer ERJ190, this is something you absolutely have to know about. So let's dig in and see what this really means for flight safety. So here's our game plan. We'll start with a quick intro to the directive itself, then we'll get right to the heart of the matter, what's failing and why it's so incredibly dangerous. After that, we'll pinpoint which aircraft are affected, cover exactly what the tech teams need to do, and finally, look at the big picture impact on your whole operation.
Okay, first things first. This AD comes straight from ANAC, and it officially becomes effective on October 9th, 2025. Now, the really important thing to know is that this one actually supersedes an older directive. Why? Because it's revising the testing intervals, which changes the game for a lot of operators.
So why the big rush? Why this new directive? Let's get right into the core safety problem. Because once you understand the why behind this AD, you'll see exactly why these actions are so critical. At the center of all of this is one single component, the engine feed check valve. We're talking specifically about part number L85E38003. You can think of this thing as a one-way gate for fuel heading to the engine. Simple, but absolutely crucial. And here's the problem. This valve is wearing out way faster than anyone expected. And we're not talking about a little bit of wear and tear here. The little butterfly gates inside the valve can actually wear down so much that they physically break off and disconnect. And when those pieces break off, well, that's when a really dangerous chain reaction starts. First, you've got debris loose in the fuel line, which can easily block fuel flow and cause an engine to flame out. At the same time, the valve itself can fail and get stuck wide open, and that completely compromises the whole fuel crossfeed system. So this all leads to the one question that really matters, especially if you're in a one-engine inoperative situation. What is the absolute worst thing that can happen? And here it is. This is the nightmare scenario. If you've already lost one engine and the check valve on your good engine side fails open, the crossfeed system can do the unthinkable. It can start pulling fuel away from your only working engine. The result is fuel starvation and a potential dual engine flameout. This is precisely what this AD is designed to prevent. Okay, so let's get specific. Which exact aircraft are on the radar for this AD? This directive is aimed squarely at two models, the Embraer ERJ190-300 and the ERJ190-400. But there's a catch. It's only if they're equipped with that specific engine feed check valve, part number L85E38-003. If that's part of your fleet, you need to be listening very closely. All right, this section is for the folks in camo and maintenance. Let's get down to the nuts and bolts. What exactly do you need to do and by when? Okay, the deadlines are all based on flight hours, and it's pretty simple. The more an aircraft has flown, the more urgent this is. And just look at that top line. For any aircraft with over 14,000 flight hours, this inspection is required before its next flight. That's as immediate as it gets. For the aircraft with fewer hours, you get a bit more breathing room. But make no mistake, these deadlines are tight across the board. So the inspection process itself follows a really clear triage logic. You check both the left-hand and right-hand valves. If everything looks good, great, you're done, for now. But if you find any damage at all, that valve has to be replaced before the plane flies again. And here's the really critical step. If you find that parts are actually missing, you not only have to replace the valve, you now have to go on a hunt through the entire fuel feed system to find that debris. Now for the repetitive tests, and this is a major change in this new AD. For your highest time aircraft, those over 14,000 hours, we're talking about a functional test every 24 hours. That's a huge operational tempo. That same frequency applies to the next tier down, just over a longer duration. For everything under 13,000 hours, you're looking at a test every 7 days. These checks have to keep happening until the full inspection is done. Okay, so we've been deep in the technical details. Let's pull back and look at the big picture. What does all of this mean for the operation as a whole? This is for the planning, commercial, and management teams. You know, the operational impact here is just massive. That before next flight requirement means you could be facing immediate, totally unscheduled groundings. This forces you to plan for fleet-wide downtime, which is a huge headache. And it puts an incredible strain on your parts procurement and logistics to get these valves where they need to be right now. And here is a really critical piece of information for your long-term strategy. The directive itself says this is an interim action.
That is agency speak for this is probably not the final word on this issue. This isn't a one-and-done fix. It's a developing situation that everybody needs to keep a very close eye on.
So let's bring it all home. What are the marching orders? What needs to happen right now for every single operator affected by this airworthiness directive?
First and foremost, let's be absolutely crystal clear on this. Compliance is not optional. It is not a suggestion. These deadlines are mandatory, full stop. If you want these aircraft to keep flying, this work has to get done on time.
And this isn't a job for one department working alone. Getting this done is going to require seamless, constant coordination. Camo, planning, maintenance, and yes, even the commercial teams who deal with the schedule disruptions. Everyone has to be in sync. For all the nitty-gritty details, these are the key documents you'll need to have handy. The main service bulletins are right here. And as always, I can't stress this enough, make absolutely sure you are using the latest approved revision for any and all work. So here's the bottom line. The risk of a dual-engine flameout due to this issue is very real. ANAC has laid out a clear plan to prevent it from ever happening. Now, the ball is in the court of every operator to assess their fleet, to schedule the work, and to get it done. The safety of your crews and passengers absolutely depends on it. Thanks for watching.